Good morning, everybody. My name is Mike Hudson. I'm in with my co-host Greg Trainer with Accessible Hunter Podcast. Today, we've got a great opportunity to be with a guy that I've known for a while, Philip Shadle. Shadle. Here I am slaughtering his name again. Known him through the action track, but he's changing up some stuff. But Philip, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Greg, what's the weather doing like your way up in PA, man?
Man, I'll tell you what, it is looking like a good day. We're hitting the high 60s, and I'm really loving this spring weather. Getting ready to get onto the farm and put some potatoes in this weekend, and start the plants that way. So the groundhog was right, Mike. It's going to be an early spring.
Well, that's what we're looking at now is we're going to be. I don't know how it is, Philip, down north towards Atlanta, but man, we're looking at it's going to be almost 80 degrees today here, and that's just absolutely bizarre.
That's what I saw for us. So I think we're going to get spoiled a little bit too early, though. We might have some cold weather sneaking in behind this.
Well, that's how we've always been. Everybody gets out here and starts planting, then everything starts dying off because come April we get another freeze.
Right.
But Philip, if you will, man, I've known you for a little while, but if you will, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll try and get my name without slaughtering it, but as Mike said, I'm Philip Shadle, and Mike and I met when I was a dealer for the Action Track Chair. So I handled the Southeast region with Action Track Chair for 12 years. So I've been around, seen a lot of people, and had a lot of wonderful experiences with that business. I handled at one time Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and South Carolina. So it was a lot of traveling. So after 12 years, I started to pull back. Last year, I had two dealers that I brought in, and they kind of took over my territory, and I stayed on last year, guiding them into everything to make it prosper for them and for their customers. And I moved over starting January of this year. I went to work for the Aimee Copeland Foundation, and I had met Aimee Copeland back in 2019 when they were wanting to get started with a program of putting the action track chairs in state parks for people to use. So that's where I met her, got to know her over the years. I did sell her first 10 chairs, and then just stayed in touch and became good friends and just learned so much about her vision and her own story and what she's out there doing that when they approached me about this idea that of going to work with them, I said, well, yes, that's a no-brainer. How can you say anything but yes? So
Right.
that's what I'm doing. I started that in January of this year, and so I'm still floundering around as my first head of a nonprofit and trying to figure out how everything works.
Absolutely. I've been seeing some of the stuff that's in the press. We've shared it around on social media about getting into the state parks, all that's going on in Georgia. Talking to Jacob with Waymaker, and I know in South Carolina we're trying to push more of that. Man, it's a fantastic thing, and we're seeing more and more. Greg, we're just blessed that it's blowing up down here in the South. It's one of those guilty by association things. We've got guys like Philip, man, that have been leading the charge with Action Track. And man, he's always been really good to me. And I'm not just tooting his horn, but he's been one of those guys everybody can call on. I know, Philip, that we touched base just a little bit, but I know you're still going to be on call if we need something with Action Track or have some chair issues, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. With the state parks opening up, what can we do to kind of push our lawmakers and facilitators to try to help with that? Um, what can we do to help you guys push that along? Advocacy is huge with what we're trying to do. And I'm a firm believer, and I think I've told you this, Philip. I know Greg's heard me beat this up over the last 5 or 6 years. I don't care who gets the publicity for whatever is going on in society, as long as we're putting a wheelchair associated with some of the stuff we're doing. All we want to do is be able to advocate and make sure best bang is out there.
Right. Right. And that's pretty much what I've been tasked with the foundation in All Terrain Georgia is getting the word out there. It's such a wonderful program, and there's still such a few number of people that know about it. So that's what we're trying to do is do a lot of promoting this year, getting some stuff out there, doing some events, and making people aware of what's available to people. it's hard for people to take advantage of something if they're not aware that it's out there. So that's
Absolutely.
our biggest struggle right now, is just making people aware.
And Philip, do you want to go over exactly what you guys do for the people that aren't familiar with the foundation and the great work that you're doing in the state parks? I mean, you want to kind of tell how many parks you're in and how many chairs you have and what the process is?
Sure, sure. I'd be glad to go into that. So I'll give you just a little bit of history too. Most people probably have already known Aimee Copeland's story. If not, you can look it up online. It's all over the place. But after her injury, she had a vision. Her first vision was to create a park that was accessible for everyone to come. And then right behind that came the second thought is, why do people with any sort of disability need to go to some special place? Why can't they go where everybody else goes? But
Right.
then her vision changed to let's make all the parks accessible for everyone. And so that's what she started doing. So underneath the Aimee Copeland Foundation, she started the entity called All Terrain Georgia. And that's actually the managing entity of what we do in partnership with our state parks and now national parks. So what we've done is we've placed action track chairs. Right now, we're in 11 state parks. We also have one at the Newman's Wetland Center, um, and down in Clayton County. And then we're in Cumberland Island. We have 2 chairs on the island, and we have one at Kennesaw Mountain, which is a national park. The Kennesaw Mountain Battlefield Park was a real interesting park. So we have the chairs there, and we have a program that you can go online, and you need to become certified. It's a small little learning video series and then a test. Become certified, and then you just go on to the reservation page and reserve your chair for the date and times that you want. Those times can vary from park to park. Some have 2 slots a day available, like a morning slot and an afternoon slot. Some parks just have a one-time slot. So all that's spelled out on the website. When you do your reservations, you can pick and choose what you want to do. So with that, with those 11 chairs, we also have 9 chairs that are sitting in Michael. That's the dealer that has taken over the South region for me. They're sitting in Michael's shop right now. We're ready. We're getting the state parks ready to do an onboarding with 9 more chairs, hopefully by the end of this month or the 1st of April. So we're putting out 9 more chairs, and we're kind of spreading those out to get this pilot program started. The first 10 chairs have kind of been central Georgia, around Atlanta and north up towards Cloudland Canyon, up towards Chattanooga that way. But with these other chairs, we're heading south. We're going to Skidaway down near Savannah, Little
Yeah.
Okmulgee over that way, and starting to circle it around that way. So that's what we're doing. And then also another initiative is it was fun. I got to, on my first couple weeks on the job, I got to go buy a brand new van. And so we've purchased a van. And so what we're doing with that van is we're going to be able to move chairs from park to park. So we have the parks that host chairs. We call it, they have a chair that lives there. And then if you decided that Greg or Mike, y'all want to go to another park and you don't see it online, you shoot us an email and say, hey, I want to go over here. I want to go to FDR for the day. And we're going to take that van. We're going to pick up a chair from a park that doesn't have it reserved and drive it to FDR and let you use it there. So
Wow.
it's really, the van is really going to double our coverage of chairs without actually having to maintain that fleet. But, we'll have 20 chairs. And I think there's something like 53 state parks plus other historic sites in Georgia. So
Yeah.
we're going to be able to cover a lot of those with the van, but we hope to continue adding chairs and other services as well.
Are you seeing, Philip, where DNR and some of these agencies are teaming up with you to kind of set up host events? Something that we can put in almost like we would do like a chair rodeo, where we get more people in the know, the lawmakers that will come in and allow us to show that the chairs are not only opening up and showing independence, but at the same token, they're not causing economical damage
Right.
to the properties. I know that in the past was one of those things where on the beaches they when Action Track and all these track chair companies first came out, they were terrified that they were going to destroy a lot of property.
Right. Right. Now we have a very great partnership with the Georgia State Parks. They're very helpful. They some of the parks even have room in their visitor center. They keep the chair parked out front so people can see it.
Fantastic.
Those that aren't able to have that space logistically, we're getting some banners made so that they can hang up. So you can have, most all of them have a small plaque in there, but we want a big banner, a 6 foot tall one that people can see and understand. Because as you know, I mean, even people that don't necessarily need the chair, they look at it and go, oh man, my friend, my cousin, my dad, whatever. Then they realize, hey, I can do stuff with family members and friends again. So that's just the awareness. And it's pretty neat that you use the word track chair rodeo, because I've been scratching notes over the past months about doing something just like that, hosting it in one of our state parks and just putting the word out through my dealers that I've worked with over the years to let all their customers know, come bring your track chair. Let's do a roundup. Let's eat some food, share some stories, tell some lies, and just have a good time and make people aware through something fun like that as to what's available. And they see all these cool chairs out there, and then we can get to tell them you can use these for free all over the state of Georgia.
Right. And that's the biggest thing. The disability world's a very small world, but at the same token, word of mouth goes a long way.
Right.
People really rely on the expertise of guys and girls that are in chairs, those agencies that work well with others. And then, word of mouth gets out there quick, which ones are working and which ones are not. So, man, I'm a fan of yours, and I'll be glad to do anything we can to help spread that. We can grab up some track chairs or whatever we need to do and come your way. You just let us know what we can do to make this thing come to fruition. Because, man, you think about it. Me and Greg have been both hurt over 20 years, and technology has made leaps and bounds, especially in the last 4, 5, 6 years, where track chairs are becoming so readily available. Before it was like a unicorn. Nobody could get them. They were so hard to find. Now, man, it's mind blowing to think these. You don't want to say guys and girls have a better opportunity, but it's a unique opportunity that we can give them a leg up right from the beginning of their injuries. But again, you let me know, Philip, what we can do, and if we need to rodeo it or we need to whatever we need the terminology laced on there, we'll be glad to do.
That'd be some exciting stuff to do. And it's in my mind, from my experience over the last years working with track chairs, it's a little bit hard to schedule it around like weather things, because I know a lot of people, it gets too hot too quick to do something that in the midsummer. So we have to kind of look at spring and fall dates for that sort of thing and work out something that way. But of course, you can't plunge too far into fall because people are in the trees, so they won't come out.
Right.
It's really amazing the work you're doing, Philip, because Mike and I get asked all the time, how can people fund a track chair? Is there any grants available? Here you have access to, 10 state parks right now, free access for people to use the track chair. They just have to make a reservation and get online and things. But not only can you use them at the parks, but now you're going to load them up on a van and transfer them to another park for the individual. So somebody that may not have, the means to, number one, purchase the track chair, but to transport it, because a lot of the bigger track chairs, as we all know, you need a little trailer to do that. You're taking care of all that through your foundation. And I've just never, known a foundation that does something like that. So I got to tell you, thank you so much for all that you're doing.
Well, it's our pleasure to be able to serve the public and like you say, put a chair. It's awesome when people come together and purchase a chair for an individual, and it changes that individual's life. Really, but think about that one chair changed one life, but we want to change thousands in the whole state. I mean, just think, you want to plan a picnic, you want to plan a fishing trip, whatever, just go online and reserve the chair. I have some past customers that own their own track chair, and yet they will go to our park and reserve one because it's easier than loading up their chair on a trailer and taking it to the park. So they just say, shoot, I'll just use the one that's there.
That's the thing, talking to Jacob and those guys in South Carolina, we've joked around about that. We've got multiple track chairs here, but I've even joked around about, why am I going to transport mine and have to do all that? I'll just reserve one when we go to the beach. But like you said, man, it is fantastic to see that we have an opportunity for respite care of the entire family. We're able to treat that. It opens up path of travel, right? It opens up tourism and so many other entities that bring it out. but it gives a huge uplift to the guys and girls that are coming into the disability world. And we've talked about this in the past, Philip, and you'll probably get it. God willing, we're all heading that way. With
Right.
age and that kind of thing, we're all going towards a chair or a walker at some point. But it's being able to open up that life still goes on, regardless of injury or terrain, that we're able to still get out and go, and we can be involved as a family unit. And not only the disability world community, right? But their families are able to come together and tour and go. And you guys are making it so much easier by just saying, hey, if we don't have it in a park you want to be at, let us know where you need it and we'll get it there. So
Right.
again, thank you very much for doing that. And I wholeheartedly believe that you guys are going to take off. Been keeping up with you with all that. Of course, it's all over the news here, when it pops off, because the Southeast again is really starting to make some major changes. And we're seeing a lot more of it here. And it's unique. At the same token, it's kind of mind blowing that it started in this area.
Right.
You
And
know,
I'm just so lucky to be actually have a little small part in it and to do that. And we've been discussing things with our partners of the state parks. And, we started with the chairs, which is awesome just to be able to get around and do the hiking and stuff. But I think there's so much more that we can do with the parks to make them truly accessible, not just one feature of the park,
Right.
whole park.
Right.
If you've been to state parks, I guess South Carolina is probably much like Georgia's and probably Pennsylvania. I mean, like their boating situation, there's nothing really that you can go and go out on the lake in that's for you. And so what about some boats that are truly accessible and stable and that people can utilize boats,
Right.
different types of bikes that could be
Mhm.
used and things like just make the whole park experience like it is for anybody. A 100% inclusion. And that sounds kind of, cliche, but that's really what we're aiming for.
and what you're doing, Philip, is you're putting the idea of accessibility out there into the general public with getting on the trails with the track chair right now. And then you're expanding upon that, well, what else isn't accessible? What
Right.
else can we improve? And as people accept that, the trails need to be accessible, they'll soon come to accept that the bike trails need to be accessible, that boating needs to be accessible. So in a beginning phase, you're really creating so much opportunity in so many other ways. Um, when you're seeing people experience this for the first time, what's it like being around, somebody coming into the park the first time thinking that they couldn't do this, and then you provide the track chair? What's it like whenever they get off the trails? What kind of stories do they have, or what's your experience dealing with people like that?
Well, I can tell you, it's really hard to keep a smile off your face when you see someone either taking off for the first time or when they come back and they're grinning from ear to ear. I had one lady tell me, she said, I don't know if you can relate to this because you've never not been able to run, but she said, it's like I'm running again, that I
Yeah.
feel that free, that I'm just going across the ground and running again. And as you touched on, Greg, it's really about, the families too. The families are just as happy as the person using the chair that they get to include their family member and go out and do things together as a unit. And it makes a world of difference. And that's what Aimee's vision has been from the start. She's a licensed and clinical therapist, and so she understands the importance mentally, emotionally, psychologically for to be outdoors and to be included in things like that. And that's what's neat too is like having the chairs on Cumberland. That's such a beautiful place, Greg. I don't know if you've been there, Mike. I'm sure you've been to Cumberland since
Yeah.
but if you get a chance, get there, Greg. It's beautiful, but there's really no place for a power chair at all. I mean, there's no pavement on the aisle. And so it's awesome to be there and know that people can go out and they've made arrangements that they can get them on their ferry, come over to the island, and then use the chairs. And so it's just a great thing, especially to be at the ocean. I've had so many people tell me about going to the beach that they just sit on the pier and watch their family, down in the
Yep.
water. But the track chair
That,
navigates the sand as well. And, they can, I know that's one thing over in South Carolina that's great that Jacob's doing with Waymaker off-road wheelchairs is being able to get people on the beaches. And I want to do a little more of that here in Georgia as well. And I think Skidaway Island will probably open that up to us with our van. We'll be able to take it from Skidaway and maybe right out to Tybee or some place like that.
You know, you
just the
guys are
cool.
hitting it with the grassroots effort. And Greg touched on it just a minute ago, but it's all about respite care. It's all about we don't know what we don't know until we just don't know it. And if we open up those ideas of, hey, you know, we just want to be involved. It's about finding that equipment that can open up the beaches and everything. It's the same thing for able-bodied folks. You know, when you
Right.
start adding things at state parks, camp areas, that kind of stuff, it opens up. Hey, this would be great for the family. Now let's see how we can make it accessible. And
Mhm.
it gets to the point where, you know, and I'm speaking just for myself. I want it to be focused on, we're focusing on the person in the chair and not the chair. So we get to a point where we see past the chair.
Right.
And we're just making it so everybody comes out and has fun. You don't have to so much highlight the fact that, oh, we're going to go out and we're going to do a wheelchair accessible event today. No, we're going to do a family event today. But now
Right.
the grandfather that's so long been sidelined can be involved as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I love the concept. Is, rather than having accessible parks, we'll just have parks. And you'll know that
Right,
when you come
right.
to a park that it's going to be accessible and
Absolutely.
leave off those
Absolutely.
just descriptive terms. Great. Also, I mentioned, within the DNR in Georgia, we have a wildlife resources division, and they're planning some different things too. We're trying to work through how it works because our program with the parks is we have mapped out areas, trails that have been mapped out. We know they're safe for the track care and then they can navigate. But as both of you know, as hunters, you don't always stay on the trails when you're hunting. So they have a big push to do adaptive hunts through the Wildlife Resources Division, and we're trying to work with them to see how that we can use those chairs safely, of course, but still allow them, a greater access to different areas for hunting. There's not a lot of places that you have a mapped out trail that there's going to be hunting allowed. So we're trying to work with that and see how that we can do that to get more people involved in the sport as well.
That is so wonderful. I mean, you guys are really thinking these problems through and how to get people where they want to go. And Mike and I say all the time that healing happens outdoors. And somebody that wants to go to the beach, you're providing that for them. Somebody that wants to go hunting or just to walk with their family. I mean, just the opportunities are endless that you guys are providing. Um, having these chairs and so many people using them, I'm sure there's a lot of upkeep and maintenance on the chairs themselves. And who takes care of all that, Philip? Who takes care of the chairs?
Well, you left it wide open. I'll go ahead and put the plug in there for the action track chair. It's amazingly maintenance free, and Mike can attest to that. There's very little that you need to do to the chairs. If you take care of them after each use and you don't leave them outside and to get weather worn, there's really very little that needs to be done. But that does fall on the foundation. As a dealer, I did some of it for Aimee in the foundation, but now since I'm the CEO, it's just one of my services that I offer. So you'll see me out there. If a wrench needs to be turned on one, I'll be out there turning the wrenches. And when I retired from the track chair active business, I have a shop full of parts and pieces still. So hopefully if there's anything that goes bad, it can be fixed very easily and we take care of it that way. But so far, I mean, we have had all of our chairs that go in the parks also have an attendant control. Um, Mike's probably familiar with that, but it's another controller that's on a little tether about 4 feet, so someone can take somebody and actually do the driving of the chair for them. And for some reason, that's the only issue that we've had in the 2 years that they've been in the parks is a couple of times those controllers have gone bad. And I don't know if it's because they were unprotected in some sort of weather or whether they got because they kind of hang off to the side, they might have got bumped into a tree or a gate or doorway, anything. We don't know. But that's the only thing that I really had to go out and take care of.
On the
Awesome.
maintenance side, are you seeing being on the coast where the frames or anything or bearings are wearing a little bit faster? I'm just curious as to, I know when we take ours out there, you know, we're quick to clean them up and, you know, try to maintain everything we can. I was just curious, does it make more sense to go towards like the aluminum type uh chairs or whatever? I'm just thinking long term.
Well, we've only had those two out at Cumberland um, since I think we were out there in December and took them out. So it's really too early to tell. But as you may know, a few years ago, we used to have a zinc undercoating offered as a option on the action track,
Right.
but now it's a standard. So there's a zinc undercoat that goes underneath the powder coat, which resists the rust from the salt water. The bearings are the ones that are most suspect to able to get some because the sand gets in there and it's got salt in it. So we've instructed them on about cleaning the chairs well with fresh water when they get back and trying to get all that sand off of there. Um, it's not necessarily that people will be driving them in the water. They might get close enough to get a surf spray, but it's really the sand that's holding the salt that
Having some technical difficulties.
here. So
I think we lost Philip there for a minute. We'll get him back here in just a second. He froze up. He got so excited.
I'm here, but Mike, there we go.
There you go. We lost you there for a minute, Philip.
Oh, I was just talking away then.
I know it. That's what we told him. We said, you got so excited, man, you froze that thing up. But so activities. I know you guys have a ton going on. Do you have anything that's coming up pretty soon that we can get involved with? I know you guys, like you said, are just up and running, and you've been running solid since January, and here we are already in March. But do you have any activities that are going to be coming up pretty quick that we can jump in with you?
Right now, our biggest activity that we've got scheduled is a golf tournament, which will be happening in October when the weather gets nice again. Get back out there. We have a golf tournament down at Wolf Creek, is just outside of Atlanta. So we'll just getting started on our social media advertising of that. So we'll get all that information out there to you. And anytime you want to share that, sharing things, as you know, on social media is one of the greatest help to make people aware. People turn to the media, electronic media for everything these days. They do their shopping there, they get their news there, everything. So any time that something can be shared on social media, it'll be great. And I can let you know a little something that's also going to be coming out that you can help us share. But we have been able to get a brand new action track chair, and we're going to be hosting a sweepstakes where if you make a donation to the foundation, we're going to give you a thank you by entering you in a sweepstakes, and we're going to give away that brand new track chair. Probably, don't hold me to the dates, but we'll probably get it up and running and give the chair away somewhere in around the 1st of July, somewhere in the month of July. So you get to use them in the parks, and somebody's going to get to take one home.
Absolutely.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
But other than that, we don't have anything big going on, but we like to reciprocate too. If you have something, you guys are hosting something, you want us to show up and that we can spread the word about what we're doing, we'll be glad to jump in there with you guys too.
Absolutely. It's always going to be that way. Unfortunately for you, I've got your cell phone number, so I'll make sure I hit you up. I'll try not to share that too much, but I'll try not to beat you up too bad, Philip. But man, definitely we're going to get together and share links. That's mainly what this nonprofit and that's what these entities need to start doing is all work together.
Right.
It doesn't matter who's getting the publicity for it. It's if we're doing the right thing for doing the right thing, it's making sure we're taking care of the people, and it'll all come out in the end. And so that's the biggest thing. I know that's why me and Greg do this podcast. It's to make sure that we're still pushing forward with all the stuff that's going on. It's hard to know what entities are out there. Even with social media and Google and all these different outlooks we have, it's difficult to find out what's out there. And this is just another unique opportunity we can continue to share. I want to thank you for taking extra time today out of your busy schedule to come on, talk to us a little bit about the fantastic work you guys are doing, but more so, again, for your personality, your philanthropy, all the hard work you're putting in there, man. I really want to say thank you again, Philip.
Well, you're most welcome. I really feel privileged to be able to do this. I mean, it's just something that, I guess we're led to do what we do. And I was, pondering the retirement from the track chair and then wondering what I would do with my crazy self. And then all of a sudden here this comes and it's like, wow, this can take all my energy and then some. So I'm really pleased to be on board with it.
We sure appreciate you, everything you're doing. It sounds like it's all well thought out. It's from the heart. You're helping people on a daily basis. And we sure appreciate you.
Thank you. I mean, that's what it's about. It's just after 12 years of being around and meeting great people and see the spirits and the attitudes, it's like, how can you not want to include everybody and make everything that people do individually and a family and as a work group, make it inclusive of everyone? I mean, it makes sense.
Right. You said the word retirement. I think that was just a building block on your resume. I think it's one of those things we all keep compounding through life. And I believe in a higher power, and I think God was just using that to kind of get you to the position you needed to be in, and to open up more of your knowledge base on the chairs, but more so the group feeling of seeing people continue to push forward each and every day. And it opens up that empathetic dialogue to where nobody in these chairs, I don't really know anybody that wants sympathy.
Yeah,
We all just want to hand out. But that's not what people in chairs want. They want to hand up,
right.
and it's about opening up ideas where now they can see somebody. You've got a unique perspective that you get to see these guys and girls all day, every day, get back out and just enjoy life. That's what it's about. And we're just excited that we can partner and be a small part in being able to do that. So again, thank you. We'll be definitely be in touch, but we're going to also share all the links. I know Greg's really good at trying to get everything set up, so we'll tag all that stuff together and
Okay.
be sure to share it, Philip.
We would certainly be appreciative of that. And I can share a little something with you about one of my experiences, and it kind of ties into what you were talking about getting a hand up and not a hand out. My dog is not ruining the background.
Oh, no
Just a
problem.
little bit loud. Uh, but one of the first year that I was doing the track chair business as a dealer, I met a man that was in a chair, and it was kind of my first interaction, and he was very charismatic and open. So I immediately made a connection. I said, "Teach me some things because I'm new in this business and I know how to sell things, but I need to know about my customer." And so I was kind of leaning down talking to him. He said, "Well, Philip, let me tell you the first thing." He said, "My legs don't work. My ears are just fine. So you don't need to lean down and talk to me." And I
Right.
thought it's a little thing, but it makes sense. You're not looking for something special. You just want to be like everybody else.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do with the parks.